right, welcome to the Cultivate NYC podcast. Today we have another special launch season version of this. We're with Robin Carabin today, and it is actually a Friday. And what's important about Fridays is at Cultivate NYC, Fridays are our community engagement days. And we have never done a podcast in real time. And as we were starting to prep everything and talk through all the process, we wanted to bring you kind of into the fold. If you hear some coffee brewing in the background or some people moving around, that's because we have all the moving parts going on. But we kind of wanted to bring you into the fold and what that looks like. So today I'm with Robin Carabin. Obviously, Robin, how are you?
I am good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I know it's my crazy idea to do this, so I apologize for roping you into this. But I think it'd be cool to get people a behind the scenes of what really is community engagement at Cultivate. We've talked about the idea. We've talked about the method behind community engagement and why we do it. Today, I want to talk about what we actually do when we do community engagement. And so go ahead and talk a little bit about Tuesdays and Thursdays leading up to Friday, and then we're going to get into the details of what happens on a Friday just after that. So what do you do on Tuesdays and Thursdays to prep? Not that that's the only days you prep for community engagement, but specifically, what do you do on those days to prep for what we're about to do here in about an hour?
Yeah, so usually on Tuesday I do most of the admin work, which is I update my database. I go through the flyers of the children and the families that signed them. I see who was there. I update the list. On Wednesday, I start with home visits. That's currently it's on Wednesday because my wife is doing something on Thursday afternoons. Right. But other than that, it would preferably be on Thursday afternoons, the day right before, where I go with flyers, tell the families, I follow up. If they came for the first time, I will invite them back, introduce myself, tell them who we are, and then just get the community ready for Friday. Making sure they know what we're giving out, what we're having for the kids, telling them if it's going to be cold or raining that we're going to be ready with the tents. So that's what I do leading up to the day. Also look at the lesson, make sure I'm on top of things.
Yep, and then now we're to day of. Obviously, you're talking about families that you're inviting to the event that we call Sidewalk, or you call Sunday School Sidewalk. Basically, this idea that we join with Metro World Child and something that you've been doing for many, many years, but you've kind of put your own twist on what they even call Sidewalk Sundays, I would assume. And when I say Sundays, I mean like Sunday school, where the gospels be presented, but it's fun, we're dancing, we're having loud music, and weird awkward Luke Calvert dance moves are going down. But also, we've kind of added a cool little twist as Cultivate NYC is we've been providing free coffee and free water, as that's something we've really cared for to do as engaging our community outside of our office space. But now we've got to join you guys on Fridays at 2, 5, 6, and sometimes 7 in terms of the middle school outreach. We've got to kind of come along, and it's really cool to see some of those people are starting to recognize Robin's twin, as I'm referred to as, and Charles and Dubois. But besides the coffee that we're kind of a small addition to your process, tell them exactly kind of what goes on. I think it's 12:30 right now.
Yeah.
By the time 1 o'clock rolls around, we're going to be heading to the on-site where you do it in the grant houses and kind of take them from that point on.
Yeah, so the truck shows up with the Metro team, with the boot campers and the people on the team. They show up at about 1:30.
How many people are we talking about to make this thing go?
Oh, you could do it with as little as 2.
Okay.
That's not my preferred way of doing things.
Think about last Friday, our first week. How many hands on deck?
There's 4 people from the Metro team, me, then my wife that comes and is a part of it. And so you could really do it with 2, but you could also do it with 5, 6. I would say the sweet spot is 5, 6 people. And then, of course, you can have as many people plugged in as you want. Yeah. So we could have Cultivate plugged in, or
we've
like
had
last
mission
week,
teams before.
Mission teams, or we had Miss Pat and the literacy program do a pop-up. And so they will get there at 1:30. We would set up, go over the day, make sure that everybody knows what they're doing. The kids come out at 2:20. At 2:35 we start. We have a pre-opening where the kids get to come to the mats. They get to engage, sign their flyers, and play until the official starts.
You're kind of yelling to all of the local apartments, "Hey, we're getting ready to start."
Yeah, we're trying to be as loud as we can without getting noise complaints.
But it seems that you guys get the noise complaints for all the right purposes, right?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
And then while I do that, you and Charles are giving out coffee.
Yeah.
Today is a little bit chilly, so we're doing hot coffee. Last week was still summer, so we were doing iced coffee and water.
The stats from that are stupid in terms of how many people we actually got to engage last week. I think it was 400-something ounces of coffee and 120 water bottles we handed out over a span of like 2 hours.
We gave around 200, a total of 200 coffees or waters. Yeah. Like it was not 200 waters, but it was like 120 waters and 60-something coffees, and then hundreds of flyers for the praise party. And that's just the people that took a coffee or a water. There was dozens of people that did not, and
but stopped to talk and hang out still. And you have, it's not just the students that you're engaging. I think that the most immediate audience, obviously, is the students that join you at 2, 5, and 7, or 2, 5, 6, and 7. But it's the parents. It's not like they drop their kids off and get out of there. Like they are all hanging out. You got 40 to 50 parents at times that are standing. They're hearing the gospel too.
Yeah, they are.
So what strategy are you using, not just to engage the student, but to engage the family on Friday?
Yeah, I mean the point really is for the families that the kids love it because there's toys and candy and games and songs and their friends. But it really is a holistic family tool where a whole family can be engaged. And even if the child comes, I can then go introduce myself to the family. If the whole family comes, I can shake hands and make sure I know mom and dad. And so,
then in turn, you're taking those people that you're meeting, and that adds to your roster that you're going back on Wednesday next week, and you're going to go to their specific apartment, knock on hey,
and a lot of people think this is like something weird that we do and just, go knock on random doors like we want to sell them something, but it's actually relational. So it's families that give us their information knowing that I will bring them a paper, and if somebody does not want us to come by, then we will not go by.
And it's not like this is not a value add. This is a huge value added to their family. They're getting an opportunity to, it's not just a snack. It's not just the gospel. It's everything. It's the students are coming out of school at 2, rushing down the sidewalk, jumping onto the mat, signing their paper, getting them in. And then this is something that they look forward to. Like, oh, Yogi's Bear is back. Like, let's go. They're like, where y'all been? That's what somebody asked me last week. So then there's 2, there's 5, there's 6. You basically run the same exact type of program, 2, 5, and 6. Now, 7 o'clock, especially coming a little bit later into this season, but what do you do specifically at 7 that you kind of move away from the elementary students and you head towards middle school?
Yeah. So first of all, the reason, maybe you're wondering why you do it 3 times, do it just once. But the problem is, or not the problem, the opportunity is that we're engaging 3 different groups of people: the ones that come out at 2:20, the ones that come out of after school at 5:15 and come out of the community center, and then the ones that come from home at 6:30.
And you move to a different location at 6:30.
Yeah, we move across the street, around the corner to another block. With the teenagers, we just don't do the sit down and rules and stuff like that. We have more conversational. The point of the lesson is usually the same one. So today we're talking about if you're a Christian, you live like Jesus. So we would talk about the same thing with the middle schoolers, but maybe with a, icebreaker question. Maybe we play a game with them, and then we have more conversations. We usually eat pizza together and just hang out and build relationships. And so it's the same principle is what do they need? Kids need guidelines and guidance and rules to know what they can and can't do, and it helps them feel secure. Teenagers need to feel like that they're not kids anymore, so we just change it up where it's more relational in terms of participatory and conversational rather than just, hey, sit down, be quiet, I'll tell you, and
right. And usually you have pizza provided, conversation provided. A lot of these students will end up going to camp in the summertime.
Yes.
Excuse me, with you. But before we jump off here, I don't think we didn't give a clear run through of what you do. So it's 2:20. That's going to happen in an hour and a half.
Yeah.
2:20, it hits. Tell me what you get up there, you welcome everybody in, and then kind of go through there, and we'll close with that.
Yeah, so like I said, there's the pre-opening, and then we do the countdown. From 10, we count down, and that's kind of the official start. Why do we count down loud and crazy? We want this to be noticed. Yeah. We want it to be the official start. Then we welcome everybody from stage, the parents, the kids. We ask them how their day was. We go over 3 rules: sit on the green tarp, do not come on the stage. The whistle means quiet. Then we pray. After prayer, we go into songs. So we pick one of the songs, and then we do the 4 things. The 4 things are: God loves me, I have sinned, Jesus died for me, I need to decide to live for God. And we have beats and music, and
if you're lucky,
people that are better qualified than me.
If you're lucky, you'll get the Itty Bitty Faith song,
the Itty Bitty Mustard Seed of Faith, or the Warm It Up, Make It Hot.
We started crazy last week with that, with little, Itty Bitty Faith. It was getting crazy.
So we did the 4 things, and then we would go into the games, where we would ask a follow-up question from last week's lesson, and then a boy and a girl gets to play against each other. If they win, they get a toy. If they don't win, they get some candy. And then from there, we will go into quiet seed explanation, which is where we talk about positive and negative reinforcement. You talk, a balloon gets popped. All 4 balloons get popped. Your side is not going to receive the treat. If you behave extra good and listen and concentrate and focus really well, you can win something extra. Then we have a lesson intro that starts off with something relevant. We have a Bible lesson, and then we have a illustrated story. Sometimes the illustrated story is a Bible lesson, like for Easter. Then we have an altar call, a point of decision, we call that, where mostly me on Fridays will come up, and I would wrap up the lesson and finish with a point to either with a challenge, a decision, something to take from the lesson, and then we seal it in prayer, give out the treats, and then have a couple of minutes of fellowship with the parents, shake hands, connect, pray for people regularly afterwards, and then we clean up all the trash that is left behind. And that's kind of what a regular service looks like.
Yeah. Well, we got to jump off here and go do that exact thing right now.
Right.
So I think the coffee is almost exactly ready. So I just want to give you a day in the life of Cultivate community engagement, and specifically joining with Metro World Child, like we've mentioned, and all the things that Robin and Jess are doing for the community. And it's been an absolute honor for us to jump in. And this is not something we expect to slow down or step away from. So if you are involved with Cultivate NYC and community engagement is on your heart, it's something that you really want to be involved in. This is not kind of just a come one, come all. It's really like the next level of engaging. Consistency is king when it comes to engaging these, all of these students. We see 200 to 300 students on a Friday, hearing the gospel of Jesus Christ, having a stinking blast, but also getting recognizing people who they can look to as mentors and they can trust. And when Robin walks through the Grant houses, it's not just, there's a dude walking through. It's like, that's Robin from Yogi Bear. Like, it's game time. Let's do this. So if that's something you're interested in, please reach out to Robin. It's robinc@cultivatenyc.com. And we just love this, Robin. So I wanted our church to be able to get an inside look on what community engagement looks like at Cultivate NYC. It's not the only thing we do, but it's a very large part of what we do here at Cultivate. Thank you for tuning in to Cultivate NYC podcast. This podcast exists to serve the church, grow the disciple, and help us engage our community for the gospel. We'll see you next time.
Bye.